Hey guys, so this is the last lesson in the Modern China unit. This whole unit is meant to be a starting point for really for asking and answering some of the big questions of modern China. Why is China the country that it is today? First or second wealthiest country in the world, certainly one of the superpowers, but one that sees itself and runs itself in a way that is far different from the other great powers of the world today, especially the other great Western powers, the United States and Great Britain, Germany, etc. We see China as a very different country in the world, and three main figures who help to explain that: Sun Yat-sen, Mao Zedong, and now Deng Xiaoping. Today, you're going to be looking at the legacy of Deng Xiaoping, who really helps us figure out the last piece in the puzzle. Okay, so we know that there's always a tension between China and the West. And the first piece of the puzzle was understanding imperialism, right? Those opium wars and the century of humiliation, the Boxer Rebellion, that led to resentment in China towards the West, but also a desire to incorporate some of the strategies of modernization and democracy under Sun Yat-sen. Okay? But then we see the rise of communism, okay? And we see China diverge from the West through Mao Zedong, the Communist Revolution, and the Cultural Revolution, and China becomes one of the two great communist powers. But interestingly, only for a very short period of time was allied with the Soviet Union. That's a whole nother story that's really fascinating. Why did the Soviet Union and China not ally with each other to become this incredibly powerful communist bloc in the Cold War? Instead, China actually eventually joins the non-aligned movement, that movement of Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana, and then we're going to see India, of countries that chose to just try to not really get involved. And China and the US didn't have as much tension during the Cold War as the US had with the Soviet Union. Then the third piece of the puzzle is, okay, but China was actually really poor. The Cultural Revolution and the communes under Mao Zedong did not help the Chinese economy. Many people in China was suffering. There was no advanced industrialization or technology because there was actually a rejection of anything that was intellectual. So it doesn't make sense, looking at Mao, how China became the country it is today with such an advanced, powerful economy until we look at Deng Xiaoping. That's what you're going to see today. And then that's going to help us answer this great question here of um, is China a capitalist or communist country? Okay. Now, we know politically China is a communist authoritarian country run by the Communist Party. What's its economy? All right. And that's what Deng Xiaoping's roles can help us understand that China actually, while it was once a communist economy as well, at one time is no longer. Okay. And this is going to leave us with some final questions, which are really interesting. Is China the model of the future? Okay. Has the West, has liberalism reached its zenith and is now losing in power? You look at the United States, Great Britain, France. Is China's authoritarian capitalism the model for the future, for the problems that we're going to face of climate change, pandemics, etc.? Or is it still the liberalism of the West? Um, and that's a question I'm going to leave you with. But look at what Deng Xiaoping did to the Chinese economy and how that starts to explain the China we know today, which is this extremely powerful economic force. Which, if we think about the way it works, if we think about how much of what we buy comes from China, it's clearly not functioning as a communist economy, right? So China is a hybrid system, communist politically, capitalist economically. What a fascinating story. Okay. And I hope this just sparks more interest for you guys in learning even more about China in the future.